Money Radio, discussing the business of making and spending money.
From the studio of Leadership Podcast in the beautiful city of Abuja, it is my pleasure to welcome you to this week's edition of Money Radio Tourism segment. We are discussing an issue that is affecting us today, and it is how Christmas can add to the development of tourism in Nigeria. In the studio to discuss that with me is a regular face, Jeremy Emerson. Jerry, you're welcome.
Thank you.
And I'll be your host, Case Hammond. So, Christmas and other festivities, festival periods in the country add to tourism. That's the time people actually have time to go about enjoying themselves. And Christmas is one of the biggest celebrations, not just in the world, but in Nigeria. Yes, arguably the biggest. People of other religions actually join to celebrate Christmas. And so that time is the time people usually take out time. I'm talking about their holidays, vacation. But even the schools are on vacation at that time to celebrate. And so naturally it adds to tourism. So, Jerry, in what areas can Christmas celebration add to tourism development or the building of tourism in Nigeria?
Thank you very much. Christmas, as you rightly said, is a period where Christians celebrate the birth of Christ, and it's a festive period, where Nigerians, not only Nigerians, people travel from where they are based to mostly their, any villages or to see their loved ones, basically. So at that point, it's usually, activities, lots of activities happen, around that period. So in that process, people come together, people wine and dine and have fun. And a lot of people bring a lot of things, across to different places. And at that point, there's fun and there's a lot that happens around that time. So talking about how it can help to drive tourism. In that process of movement, people get to visit places they've not visited before, and that is tourism. So, and how can it add to tourism? How can it add to tourism? Tour operators at this festive period, should begin to think around how they can use Christmas to drive tourism in Nigeria.
Yeah, during that period of festivities, or during this period of festivities, there are some festivals that also come with it. We'll go into that. But during this period, there is heightened economic activities. Uh, Road transporters make more money because people travel more. And so they hike the prices, sometimes double the price. Air transport, they also make more money. That is, yeah, they hike their prices. Um, it's just like that everywhere. But there is, during this period, I don't know, there is this kind of meeting point. I don't know if it's by just accident or it was planned. But during this period, you have in a place like Edo State, you have the Igwe Festival. And then in the East, is this not the time you have the New Yam Festival?
Okay, I really may not know that, but in Akwa Ibom State, you have the Akwa Ibom Festival. It's a
Yes,
festival.
and we will talk about the carnival.
Yeah, you have
We will talk about that. But tell us about Akwa Ibom State.
Yes, in Akwa Ibom State, there's a Christmas village, where you have a very big space where people come in to showcase a lot of especially foods, activities, Christmas festive activities.
Tell us about the food because I am I'm a lover of food and different foods actually, and people from that area they know how to prepare food. So tell us more about the food.
Of course they do. There are quite a lot of food. As a matter of fact, Akwa Ibom State has plenty delicacies, ranging from the popular Edika Ikon,
Yes,
Afang,
yes.
so many other stuff, so many other food. You have plantain porridge made from and let me not mention that. I don't want to say that.
Mention the mentionables.
No, it's not everybody actually.
Yeah.
Like, you see, I find people eat dogs. Yeah, they do, but
Dog is a delicacy.
not everybody eat that.
Dog is a deli- it's a, de- it's a
Yeah,
delicacy.
but there are several other nice cuisine you have at that festival.
Yeah. So during this time too, during the Christmas period, besides those heightened activities, people have the time to go to their villages. In a place like Lagos, for example, there are many people from the east, children born in the east. I'm sorry, children born in Lagos, even born abroad, that don't have the time to go to the village. And it is during this time they see fit to take their children the people see fit to take their children to the village. There is one other aspect that I am a bit hesitant to talk about, but ladies who ladies who during the year or over the years have tried to hook up and I've not seen anything hookable. They go to the village around this time because everybody comes
Yeah.
in. So they go to the village around this time and to see who can be, who can be tied with. Yes. So all of those things add to the luster that we talk about when we talk about tourism at Christmas. Of course, that is love tourism.
because as Nigerians will say, they are Brodians. They are Brodians are
Yes,
around.
they are brothers as well.
Because people travel and they want to, some people have their parents in the village,
Yeah,
so they always want to, at this period, always want to go home and be with them, share in the savour in the festive period. And talking about how you can drive tourism, even in our villages, there are places you may not have visited for a long time, or even your kids may not know those places. You take them there. There are cultural festivals, there are displays, there are masquerades, there are so many things. And that is where tour operators can cash in.
yeah,
Cash in the sense that they go in and make it a lot more colorful. Add to such a cultural display, make it a lot more colorful, and then put a price to it. People will definitely pay.
yes,
To attract people coming from even neighboring states to some of these destinations. And that will help to drive tourism.
yeah. Um, Before we go to another aspect of Christmas adding value to tourism in Nigeria, during these periods, and I'm sure in your place, Akwa Ibom, Cross River State, people actually go home during the Christmas period. So that is where we will talk about the carnival, as I said. But during that period, people actually get to savor their local dishes.
Yes.
Yes, that is where they get exposure. Take some for example something like Idika Ikong maybe have its own Lagos value or its own Lagos taste or its own Abuja taste or in other places it may have its own taste. But when it comes to home,
That local
that is
taste,
the
that
that's
local taste,
yes.
you can't take it away.
Yeah, there are some places in Nigeria. There are foods that are cooked and people enjoy. Take for example, there's this food called okpa.
Oh, yes.
Okpa is a delicacy. It's a nice one. It's made from bambara nuts.
Yeah.
So okpa is good. People use plastics to boil it, and it gets hard. The goal is reached that you boil it. But when you get to the village, there is that extra taste that the okpa comes with when you use the banana leaves
Yeah.
to boil it. Yes. So people get to realize that these things around those village areas actually uh, are different, and that is what we call tourism. Now, let's talk about the carnival, Calabar Carnival. People go to that area. Does Akwa Ibom have carnival?
Uh, Not like what crossover has.
Okay. You will tell us about that. Let's take a breather. It's about half time. Let's take a breather. When we come back, we'll talk about Calabar Carnival and how it is actually done in that area, the success of it, how it can be replicated, and then who should drive it. When we come back from this break, we want to discuss all of that. Listeners, please stay tuned with us. We'll be right back.
For sponsorship and advert placements, please contact 080-3688-6158. Last Word Leadership Podcast Studio. You have the last word.
You're welcome back to Leadership Podcast. You're on the tourism segment of Money Radio from a hot a hot city of Abuja. It's a big welcome to you. Uh, to join us again on this tourism segment of the show. And in the studio with me is still Jared Emerson. Jared, you're welcome back. I'm your host, Case Hammer. So just before we went for that break, we were talking about places people go to and how it adds value to the tourism industry in Nigeria. Now, I want to ask you, let's talk about Calabar, Carnival. You know, the Calabar Carnival is one of the legacies of a man I would call great, Donald Duke. Yes, Donald Duke, the former governor of the Cross River State, actually he set a bar that after him it has been difficult for other governors to actually reach.
to that team. That
Yes, yes. I remember besides the Calabar Carnival as a legacy, there's also this Tinapa that he was building. Tinapa is becoming something different. That was the tourism say is supposed to add to tourism. But let's talk about the Calabar Carnival. Unfortunately, it's not going to be held this year.
yes.
Let's talk about that.
Yeah, like you said, unfortunately, it will be held this year due to COVID. The Calabar Carnival has been there over the years. It has put Nigeria, Cross River, on the world map as a destination, for such. It's a massive carnival where people come from many places of the world, like Brazil, different places of the world, even within the country, because contingents come from different places of various places in the country,
Mhm.
and it has really promoted the economy of that state over the years. But it's quite sad that we won't be having it this year, and we can only hope that it will continue like that. Maybe in the coming year, we won't begin to see the carnival beginning to
To win.
wane
Yeah.
or dwindle.
You know, interestingly, I may be wrong, but besides the Brazilian carnival, I don't know of any other carnival that is bigger than the Carnival Carnival. It may be the second most attractive in the world.
Actually, one of
It's, yeah, yeah. So,
yes.
uh, there are other places. You know, during the season like this, you see that Lagos, for example, Abuja, and a good number of other big cities, even Port Harcourt, you find that they get empty. People
Yeah.
go to their places of origin, and these places get empty. Now, all of these go with somebody driving these activities or driving awareness of
Awareness,
these
yes,
activities. Now, who is supposed to be driving these activities? Is it government or is it private operators?
yes. At first, government at all levels, needs to show needs to show interest first.
Yeah.
By providing the enabling environment for tour operators and stakeholders to come in, because it's not that government needs to drive it, but government needs to, you know, allow create that environment
Yeah.
for these people to thrive, by providing basic infrastructure, because a tour operator cannot begin to handle major and key infrastructures
Yeah.
that are needed to drive tourism. So government needs to, prioritize that sector by providing, good roads, electricity, which are very key. Electricity. What again? Um, Hospitality. What do you call it? Medical services at some of these tour locations. For
Uh-huh.
example, the Obudu Ranch,
Yes.
places like that where you have to host people and keep them for a day or two.
Yeah, before we go, before we continue with this, what government needs to do or what the private sector needs to do, look at this picture on the screen here. You know, there's so much that goes with this that, if not harnessed, may actually be lost. Think about the hotels that are booked
Yes.
in Calabar. People, the local industry is, or the local economy is actually buoyed when you have people from all walks of life come to Calabar for this carnival. Think about the number of tailors, that is
Yes.
small and small scale in the industry. We're talking about the garment industry. Think about the number of tailors that benefit,
Engaged.
that will be engaged from this Calabar Carnival.
And even some of the crafts.
Some of
these are
those,
handmade
yes,
crafts.
that's a handmade craft.
craft.
Think about all of the money that actually is that is built into the local economy, and how it's actually. Donald Duck was actually a visionary.
Yes, he did very well for the state, and it would have been the best, government of that state, successive government can do is to sustain this initiative by yearly improving on the activity.
You know, I begin to imagine with such beautiful costumes. When you think about when such a thing will begin to, when people will begin to engage the local garment industry for the success of a program like this, it's likely to be somewhere around July. Because if you are waiting for November to sew your costume for a program like this, the tailor will actually disappoint you. You are more likely to be disappointed, or he won't do a quality job. So when you think about all of this, you see that there is so much in this industry, and why can this be replicated? You know, I always get angry with these state governors that just do not think at all. It's as if their heads are on their, are load. They do not think of how to build the local industry or how to build the local economy, and there is so much that can be done. Just so much to attract people to your economy to spend. You know, this is something we haven't been thinking about. These costumes, they actually add value to the local garment industry. It may be hundreds of millions of naira to that local industry just by instituting this thing, the, the hospitality industry, food. People sell food. So during that December break, the local economy is actually buoyed up. And instead of thinking about always coming to the local, always coming to Abuja, to the federal government, wearing agbada and going to claim the money from the federal allocation, is lazy. It's lazy. People maybe Donald Duck needs to be
Minister
use,
of Tourism.
yes,
Oh
yes.
yes, oh yes, and trust me, he will do a whole lot because he sees beyond, what many people, what many state governments or
You know,
state
successive
leaders.
governments actually, and I will still say, is that Tinapa is no longer anything. The place is actually becoming a ruin. It's there's this law of Newton's third law of thermodynamics or something like that. What's the name of that law? Um, Entropy. Entropy. That's the name of the law. That look, if you stop using something,
Yes,
it gets ruined. This building we are in now,
yes,
if you stop using this building, before you know it, spider webs will begin to
yes.
uh, fill this place. You see lizards and you see all sorts of things, and the building will start to get ruined. So much money was pumped into that Tinapa project, but the thing is, I'm not sure it's being followed. Because last time I interviewed somebody who stayed there, he said there's nothing that is actually,
And the NSAS protest
yeah.
that happened 2020, it led to damage of properties in that place.
It's in Upper.
So
Yeah, maybe.
I don't know if it's been fixed now.
No, but if the local, if the local people, if the local economy or the local communities had seen that the thing is adding value to their livelihood, they wouldn't have destroyed it because they would know that this thing is adding value to our life. It's building our economy. But probably because the successive governors abandoned it, so to speak, people thought this thing is useless to us.
Of course, of course. And let me bring you up to, in Abuja here, we used to have a carnival.
Abuja Carnival.
Yes,
Tell me about it.
we used to have a carnival until a couple of years ago. It just died off. We used to have a street carnival. We moved from locations, and it drew contingents from other states of the federation.
Can you
About
imagine?
36 about all the states of the federation had contingents.
Can you
So
imagine?
it was a massive street protest, colorful, beautiful, and all of a sudden it just died down. And as it is now, presently now, a lot of people are scared of travel.
Yes, security issue.
Economically, most people will tell you we don't have money to travel, so we stay in Abuja. So at this point, at this time, this is the time where the carnival would have served
That yes,
people
people
here,
here. Yeah.
to also have a feel of the festive period. And of course, you won't take away the fact that a lot of bricks business will come on.
Of course.
People will make money. People will the costume like we talked about. People will be engaged in different business activities.
There are many. St- Abuja is surrounded by Kogi State, Kaduna,
Kaduna,
Nasarawa, Benue,
yes, Niger.
Niger.
Yes.
5 states. So suppose Abuja becomes that hub or that attraction that will attract all of the surrounding cultures and have a carnival. Imagine what will be. So our
just
people
think
need to
that
start thinking.
we need to, because
Our
we,
people
we,
need
we
to start
on this program we have said quite a lot in our subsequent in our previous edition.
Yeah.
We talked about how the tourism industry should be repositioned, how government at all levels should
Yes.
come in to improve, to develop the sector,
Yeah.
so we can move away from oil reliance on oil.
Yes. There's so much money out there. People want to spend, but where to spend is the problem. And even when one comes to this, when one starts discussing an issue, upbeat, when you are upbeat about discussing an issue, sometimes when you see how government is failing to
Yeah,
boil up some of these potentials, it becomes sad and it becomes
it's one distribution.
yes, it's I don't know.
We can only keep saying it. We can only keep saying it until the authorities
It's demoralizing to say the least. It's demoralizing
can.
when you see so much potential in this area that is not being tapped. So let's just call it a day. That's how we come to the end of this week's tourism segment edition of Morning Radio. In the studio with me has been Jerry Emerson. Jerry, thanks for being with us today. Thanks to you, our producers. I've been your host, Keith Hammond. Thanks very much to all of you who have become our loyal followers, but not just our loyal followers. You add luster to this program with your comments and all of your support. We say thank you very much. Until we meet tomorrow for another edition, it is my pleasure to say have a nice day and stay safe, stay blessed. Coronavirus is real.
Thank you for watching. For sponsorship and advert placements, please contact 080-3688-6158. Last Word Leadership Podcast Studio. You have the last word.